Here we have a 2014 GMC Sierra 1500. This one comes in the SLT trim level in quicksilver metallic. And then we have jet black perforated leather interior. Now the powertrain on this truck is going to consist of a 5.3 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine. And that's going to be mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. And then we also have the Z71 off-road package with 4-wheel drive. But as we come around to the front end here, just a little beat up around the edges, but we have halogen headlamps, fog lights, and LED daytime running lights. They don't flash like that. That's just how the camera's picking them up. But just a few scratches here and there, but mostly just rock chips from the interstate, I'm sure. And you just have a small dent right in here. But it's held up pretty nicely, and you really can't even tell about the dent unless you're looking for it. But coming around to the wheels here, we get these nice 20-inch polished aluminums. Then we have our fixed running boards here. And then over here we have one-touch automatic up and down windows, or one-touch automatic up and down on the driver's side, then one-touch express on the other three. And then power door lock controls, power mirror controls. We can turn those on and off and adjust. And then we also have power folding mirrors. And then you can see they have the turn signal indicators in them. And then memory seat, hit set, hold the one you want to set to. You can set your entry exit as well. And then power child locks, which is awesome. And then we have our rear window locks there. Tons of storage, 2 bottle holders, Bose sound system, which sounds fantastic. Then we have a foot pedal right there, so you just click that, then click it off. Headlamp controls are here, fog light toggle, 4-wheel drive controls, trailer brake controller, and then gauge cluster adjustment for the brightness. And here's our power driver's seat with power lumbar support. But I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So let's go ahead and check out the rear seat room. But I love how they did the door panel here. Tons and tons of storage. And then you have another bottle holder here. You can even fold this seat up and down. Let's hop in the back. So legroom is actually pretty good, and I do have this seat quite a bit far back, but knees are just barely touching the back there. Then we do have the seat back pockets on both sides. And then 12 volt here, storage. And then our middle seat folds down, cup holders right there. And then we do get the premium dome lights throughout. And we could probably hang one skinny hook on this hook hanger here. Let's make our way towards the back. So this one takes E85 and gas. There's a fuel cap there. And then this one does have a toolbox. But coming around to the back end, nice look there. And again, just one little cave in there. Nothing terrible though. There's a spare tire underneath. And this one has a bed liner from Line-X. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this box here. You need both hands, but try and get open with just one. So I went ahead and opened it. I had to use 2 hands, so I had to put my phone down for a minute. There's a toolbox there that comes with this one. So pretty handy. Let's go ahead and make our way around. So to the front passenger seat, love that we get that same adjustability as we do on the driver's side with that power and power lumbar support. And then a nice big mat pocket here. There's tons of storage in this truck. Glove compartment down here, then a lockable one up top. But this one's in very good shape for it to have the miles that it does, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Pretty impressed. We're gonna go ahead and pop the hood right here. And then come back around to the front. And there's that 5.3 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine. getting put down through that 6-speed automatic. But now let's just go ahead and do a quick run through of the interior from the driver's side. So nice leather wrap steering wheel here. Again, as you can see, I am a little tilted back, but feels good. Now over to the radio here, I'm gonna turn the fan speed down just a little bit because it's hot out. There's a navigation screen there, and this is your home page. Now for audio, you do get AM, FM, as well as XM radio. And then you have Bluetooth audio. There's a navigation screen there. Type in your destination there. I love how this works. I can just type in an address instead of having to go through 3 different line items like in the older navigation systems, then find something quickly. But then I also have the option to go through points of interest, recent, type in the address manually, of course, but just like how that works. And then you have the menu as well. You can just turn that on and go through different settings there as well. Now, volume knobs there. You can click to mute. And then you can also use this as a tune knob. And the radio stations there down below, you can see it's going through the XM stations there. And for the media, you can go ahead and pair that. It'll show you devices. And then the settings here, you can go through your Bluetooth. So if you want to set a connection up there, that way it'll walk you right through it. And then your vehicle settings in here, so comfort and convenience, lighting. And finally, you have your rear camera settings. You can toggle the guidance lines, the rear park assist symbols, and all that. And language is also in here if you want to set that, time and date. And then the CD drive down here. And then when XM is hooked up, you can use the weather. And then when you have a Pandora subscription, you can use that too. But down here, dual zone automatic climate controls, adjust temperature here, auto mode's there to cut that down, adjust the fan speed, and you can sync. And then to unsync, you just go ahead and adjust the passenger temperature there. And then you can choose fan direction between these 4, and then you have the defrosters here. But cooled seats on there, 3 stages for that and the heat. And down here, we do have power adjustable pedals. So they still have that in this 2014 if that's a big thing for you. And then parking sensors here, lane departure warning, downhill brake control. And then you have 3 USB ports here, 2 12 volts, and then it's either a 110 or 120 volt 3-prong household plug-in in there. 2 cup holders, tons of storage in the center console cubby space, 12 volt here. And then you have an SD card reader and then 2 USB-A inputs as well as an aux. So it's crazy how much charging capability you had here in this 14. There's a power sliding rear window. And that controls here, universal home remotes here. You can set your lights here. And those are also LED. And then sunglasses holder there. OnStar's here. Windshield wiper controls, your intermittents in the middle, then you have low and high, and then 1 time down, high beams, and you can flash them there, and then you have your front wiper fluid by pulling that. And then to shift the 6-speed, hit the brake, pull, reverse, neutral, drive, your manual mode, and then you can go through your gears here, and I'll show you what gear you're in at the bottom right corner of the digital part of the gauge cluster, and then tow haul mode right there. Then you can set your cruise control here, adjust the forward collision alert gap, and you can actually shut it all the way off, which is great. And then voice recognition, Bluetooth also serves as the mute button here. And then these 4 arrows in the check are to go through that middle part of the gauge cluster. Tons of settings in there. And if you want to go ahead and change what system you're in, like you want to go from US to metric, that's all you have to do. And then behind the steering wheel on the left side, you have your track list, radio station presets you can toggle with these 2 buttons. And then behind on the right side, you have your volume, turn key there, remote start. And now it's time to take this Sierra 1500 out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Sierra 1500 SLT, The engine and transmission still feel pretty good in terms of just how they're driving, how they're working. And this one in particular, find the miles again. It's right at 128,000, a little over that, and still drives spectacularly. And I'm usually not used to these kind of trucks being this way. Usually something's going wrong. The service department will say it needs a transmission or something like that, but this one is driving absolutely perfectly. And also, I see a lot of these radios go out, and this one still, the touchscreen still works great, all the buttons work, sound system still sounds good. Well, let's give it some throttle here. So pretty quick. Now I've said this before, the 5.3 is enough power for about 90-95% of people in this market, because it's no slouch, extremely quick. And you don't have to worry about the turbo lag either, like you might in an EcoBoost F-150, which those are still powerful trucks, but just something about that rumble of a V8. Now with this truck being as old as it is, it's almost 10 years old, I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but honestly this is pretty close. Ride quality is pretty good. Feeling just a tad bit of vibration in the steering wheel here, but none in the floorboard. And you can see I'm getting right at 23 miles per gallon average, just coasting here. And then as I start to let off and brake, it'll go to like 90 or whatever, 99. But it's basically because it's going off the travel of the wheels, even though I'm not giving the engine any throttle. But you do get cylinder deactivation in these as well, which I like, especially if you're on like a 4-lane highway or even a 2-lane highway. The speed limit's 50 or 55. You can just kind of cruise and get excellent fuel economy because 4 of the cylinders are not going. Now for the money, this one's right at, I think, $27,000. And with how well this one was cared for, I feel like you'd still have a lot of life left in it, even if you have to do a few small repairs. Just due to, again, how this one was taken care of. I think the service records were pretty good. And it drives like no other 14, 15 body style Sierra I've been in, because usually you have issues with those, but this one here feels fantastic. And I also like the 6-speed as opposed to the 8-speed in terms of just how it runs, because the 8-speed, especially when they were coming out in some of these trucks, they weren't the most reliable, they weren't the most consistent, I should say. So you get a shudder here and there. But the 6-speed is pretty consistent in where it shifts, how it shifts. Give it another pull here. But especially with the SLT, this one in particular, you have the heated cooled seat package, the navigation system. Of course, you have the dual zone automatic climate controls. This one has 4-wheel drive, trailer brake controller, memory seats. So nice setup here. And I feel like you get a ton of options that you don't even find in some of today's trucks, new trucks. So having that 3-prong household plug-in, the 3 USBs here, the 2 you have here, it's just tons of charging capabilities. And again, this one still drives like it should, even with almost 130,000 miles on it. But as I come to the end of the test drive, if you're looking for a full-size truck, it's kind of hard to come across one that's not completely rusted out and 200K plus miles for You know, you can't find one for less than 20, 15 grand. So being able to get this one for 27, and then it still has a ton of life left in it, has every feature you could want. Not a bad deal there, in my opinion. But this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2014 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT.